What up out there, everyone? How my travel wolves doing? I'm gonna change this to travel fans so I can say, what up out there, sports fans? Grand rising, grand rising. I come to you in my illustrious morning self, face semi-unwashed. Just had a great breakfast. Got my morning water. This right here is life, okay? Spring water. Most people drink coffee, which is very bad for you in the morning. But you got to get one of these in you. It's going to take a while, but you get this whole bottle in you every day, and the rest of your day is straight. Okay? I'm here to talk about how you can't lie your way to the top of YouTube. Now, why am I here to talk about that? Because I feel that if you don't say something, people think they're right. And people think that they're right about lying. Also, I believe that being quiet for fear of conflict is cowardly. And I don't do either things. You know what I mean? If you want to dump, we can dump. You're going to have to physically hold me down and punch me in my face. But if not, then I'm going to tell the truth. especially about you. So that's it, you know. Yeah, man. This travel space thing, it's gone too far. There's a lot of people against one person right now who's telling the truth. And I just don't like it. I don't like that. I got a big problem with that. Because most of these YouTubers lack a journalistic background. And so they don't know how to be objective. You know, they just subjectively bring their story, which is fine. But they edit out the bad parts. They edit out a lot of things. They make everything great, to the point where it's unrealistic. Let's take, for example, how smooth this is, right? A lot of guys don't even understand. Nobody even sees this. And I'm sorry for going ahead because there's something else that I want to show you guys to take you from day 0 to day 200,000 billion. But I had to do this because the inspiration just hit me. But let's take this for example, right? This is the first thing I'm going to say. We do understand that they've turned us, me too, I'm guilty now. I'm not blaming on everybody. I'm guilty of the same shit. I was led astray by the same lying ass YouTubers. I'll tell you I was led astray. But let me tell you, just what they did. This is how slick it was. They turned us all into men of convenience. They turned us all into men without families. They turned us all into men seeking short-term, cheap pleasure. Okay? Think about that. Let that sink in. I'm not going to put too much of my emphasis on it because I want you to have your own optics behind that. But those are the seeds I'm planting. Okay? Because what is a man? What is the purpose? What is a man's purpose? Are you a man? I know I'm a man. Shouldn't you have a family? Shouldn't you have something long-term, a legacy behind you, right? Shouldn't you be responsible for people, a provider for people, right? Now, it's okay if we were doing just that short-term, cheap pleasure and it transitioned into something as we're told it can, but it really doesn't. It's actually impossible to do it. And if it happens, it's not in your control that it happens. It's in someone else's control that it happens. That's the first thing they lie about. But you see how cleverly all of them do a conspiratorial attempt. Is that a word? Or just by, I don't know, sheer coincidence, which we know doesn't exist, but maybe that's what we become through the lies. That's what we go out here and we seek out. We don't seek out $1 million, right? Ain't nobody in these countries looking for $1 million, right? We seeking out nothing. Basically, we're not looking for safe places to develop our current family, to take our family from a place of danger to a place of safety. We're not looking for that, right? And what happens after all of this? This is how you know it's a lie. What happens after you go out here and you enjoy these cheap pleasures and these short-term relationships? You come right back home and you're smacking the monkey into the next trip, right? That's what happens. Because if it's so great and it's so grand, how can you come back and accept anything less? It just doesn't make any sense to me that you would do that. So that's the first lie. Now, how do these lies work? Well, simply in this simulation, as a part of the simulation, what happens is we have an internal bias hypnotically put into our brain. And it says that you're going to look at one person and you're going to look at them and say, that looks like someone I need to listen to. And you're going to look at another person and you're going to say, that looks like someone I shouldn't listen to. And that's it. Those are the only distinctions between the two. But if you were listening to both of them, you would learn that one of them is, although they're speaking, they're not really saying anything. And guess what? That's the person the simulation has put into you that you should listen to. The person you shouldn't listen to is saying a lot, but you're just not listening to them. And that's what I mean by we have a person right now, Travel Paul. I love him. I love his channel. Shout out Travel Paul. I got you, bro. Holla at me, your biggest supporter. Is saying a lot of truth. He's somebody we should be listening to. I listen to him. I think he's doing the work. He's doing the work. He's doing the real work. And it has totally changed my mind. He has influenced me in such a way that I'm like, really like, after a while, I was like, you know what? This guy's right. Like, I'm in the other countries, in the debauchery, in the devil's cauldron, listening to Travel Paul, and I'm like, he's right. These other guys were lying. I mean, I thought it was me, but it really wasn't me. It was these other guys lying, you know? And so, why did they lie? Because they believe that the only way to get to the top is by lying. And you can't lie your way to the top. And I can tell you, I've been watching these guys for a long time, 4 years. They all show the same best day of themselves. It's like ridiculous. Nothing bad ever happens to them. They have no experiences that I can learn from. Because you can only learn from failures. You can't learn from successes. And if you only have successes, you'll never survive the failures because you're not prepared to brace yourself. You're not able to stand up straight and tall. You know, you're not stiff. So, another example real quick I'll give you, and then I'll end this video because it's already too long. But I just wanted to get everyone's attention to that. You can't lie your way to the top of YouTube, and a lot of these YouTubers are out here capping like a motherfucker. And I think I'm on to something. I'm on to something right now. A major thing I'm going to share with everyone real soon. But keep in mind, though, if I share certain things with you, you got to pay me a lot of money because I got to disappear because I'm not letting them get me. And an example, not that this person was telling us the truth. They were lying too. But, you know, people throw his name around. I'm not going to say it because, you know, I'm not going to talk ill of the deceased like that. But why are we still reflecting on this person? They're gone. And all they did was talk but not say anything. Nothing they did changes anything. If it did, we would be able to go anywhere in the world and not have to supplicate for short-term pleasures and short-term relationships. If he had the blueprint, cologne, a suit, these shoes, these glasses, this watch, and you spend 4 years getting educated or 6 years getting educated to make this amount of money, you should be able to go to any of these countries and not have to supplicate for a short-term relationship or short-term pleasures, right? So he wasn't saying anything. I could tell you, if you want to make X amount of money, which, let's be honest, $200,000 isn't a lot of money to make a year. Most people start off at that. I could tell you what degrees you have to go out here and get, or what vocation you have to go out here and learn in order to earn that. At least $200,000, right? It's not a secret. It's not a secret. It's not a secret why one demographic is the highest paid, because guess what? They only go to education. They only go to university for that education. They don't go to university for anything else. Okay? And the other demographic, well, they're paid because of historical wealth, generational wealth, right? That's the other reason why they're paid. So you got right there the two top paid men in the country of America, no, North America, are the ones who only pursue a certain university education. I think it's like 3 or 4 degrees. They only get those degrees. Only. They don't do nothing else. They don't prepare to do anything else. Because they said, how do I make the most money? I got to be this, or this. It's only 3 things. Or generational wealth, which we're never going to get because you have to exploit resources and people and all these things for at least 20 years. And they got like 200, 300 years in. So, but the lie is that it's the same for everyone, right? It's the same for these other men. Speaking as an African-American man, I can tell you firsthand, I saw in my travels, it's not the same. Obviously, if you're a white man and you're some other man, other than an African-American man, your experience is different. It is way different for them than it is for us. Even though they enjoy spending a lot more money than we can on short-term pleasures and short-term relationships, they don't really have to. They get offered a lot more normalcy because you know, they're the 2 highest earning men on the planet. And then here we come, right? Being cheap and trying to coast by and hustle and everything like that, you know? And really just dealing with the same people. Like he says, we're only dealing with the same group of girls. I can prove that. I mean, Travel Paul isn't making that up. We're only dealing with the same group of girls who fetishize us. And we don't want that. You see what I'm saying? We don't want that. You want to take something from someone. You want to seize it and make it yours and build on it and make it work for you. You don't want to borrow it or it be lent to. You're better off keeping your resources and doing something constructive that exploits them, not you. You see what I mean? So, another example I was going to talk about real quick was this other YouTuber who I followed for several years and I'm a big fan of. And they were like, oh, I'm about to go to Africa. And I was like, here you go lying again. Because they know that whenever they talk about going to Africa, it's going to get people's attention. So they'll lie about it. But the truth is, you've been on YouTube 4 or 5 years. You ain't been to Africa yet because you don't want to. You spend 4 or 5 years in the same countries, in the same region, because that's what you want to do. And that's okay. But don't lie about ever going to Africa, because 3 or 4 years from now, you're never going to get there. I have an African visa in my passport. I can go to Africa like that. I have an African visa, not a VOA country, not an e-visa, an actual visa that you have to go and mail your passport into that embassy, and then they mail it back to you with the visa inside. So I can go to that African country right now like that. I don't got to wait. And then you got all the VOAs, and then you got the e-visas, which most African countries don't even have e-visas or VOAs. It's only like 3 that have VOAs, and I think maybe 2 have e-visas. Most of them, you have to send your passport in. So, well, no, there's 4 countries that have VOAs, and 2 have e-visas right now. And then you got to send your passport in, which means a trip to D.C. or Washington. I mean, that's the same place. Which means a trip to Washington, D.C. or New York City. Why? Because that's where all the embassies are at, and you can walk in the door and get your visa the same day. And then you can get on your flight the next day or next week and go to that African country. But anyway, you know, he wants to lie about going to Africa because he knows it gets attention. Because he's never been. It doesn't matter that he never wants to go. I'm just saying, don't lie about going. And that's what this really is for. This video isn't for the present. This video is for posterity. It's for the future. I'm in the future right now. I'm 2 years, 3 years in the future, so that 10 years later, somebody watches this video and they can see these same YouTubers saying the same shit, lying, And that's a deduction that they're going to come from. Since the simulation has made it that because the way I look, your decision is not to listen to me, I found a way to hack the system. And that's what the Matrix is really all about. Hacking a system. You can't beat the Matrix. You can't destroy the Matrix because we're so intertwined together. It can't destroy us. We can't destroy it. But you can hack it. Computer sound. You know, you can hack it. You can bend it to your will a little bit, you know, depending on how fast you can type, okay? Because of the principles that it exists on. Programming language, and they can't change that. So, just wanted to let everyone know you can't lie your way to the top of YouTube. You just can't. And only way you can get to the top of YouTube is by telling the truth. And I got a lot of truth to tell. I got some bad stories to tell. I'm going to tell you everything in a little bit. I'm going to start from the beginning, though, because I got to take you back to day 0 and bring you along slowly. And like I said, it's not really for the present. I don't expect people to see this video right now. I expect people to see this video 5-10 years from now and learn what it was like to be me at this time and look at these other people and see that they haven't changed at all. And also for me to look back at myself and see where I'm at 5-10 years from now, you know? So that's really what I'm doing it for, posterity. I'm not really doing it for the immediate gain because that's not real. The immediate gain isn't real. So just remember, you can't lie your way to the top. I'm out here. I'm going to talk about it because not saying nothing makes you think you're right. I don't want people to think that. And not saying anything is kind of like being a coward, and I'm tired of doing that. I'm tired of not saying anything for fear of conflict. It has really gotten out of hand. And I'm upset that people have villainized and criticized someone who just wanted to tell the truth and be objective. Travel Paul, shout out again, Travel Paul. And these people are just villainizing him, you know? And I don't like that. I don't like bullies, and I don't like fools. I will not suffer fools. And people are fools for villainizing this person, and not the people who are lying to you. It's crazy. And you really know they're lying to you. And that's why I got to start from day 0, because when I start from day 0, the next video I do tomorrow is a treat. It's going to be a treat. It's going to be the one free thing I give you. After that, you got to pay me because I'm about to tell you the truth about everything. And if I do that, I got to disappear. So I got to get at least $1 million, at least. And that's no money, but I got to get at least $1 million to disappear, because once I tell you the truth about everything, you know, they're going to come for me so hard. I already know. And in a way, you can kind of say that's what happened to this other person. May they rest in power. They told a little bit of truth one time, and they came for them. And the crazy thing is they didn't even tell the truth on YouTube. They told the truth on a TV show called Atlanta, which you can see their episode that they were in. I recommend everyone watch it. I'll put it in the description box below, matter of fact. And that's what their demise was, because I believe that had they been around after that episode dropped, hell fucking yeah, they would have went through the stratosphere. They would have been abysmally popular around the world. They would have been that person, even though they were lying, even though they were talking and not saying nothing. In Atlanta, they told the truth, and it's a simple line. It's a real simple line, but they told the truth, and that's what was their demise. So be mindful too. Yeah, telling the truth. Yeah, I mean, the Matrix, right? What happens? Neo starts seeing the truth, and they come after him. So even seeing the truth makes them come after you. Definitely telling the truth makes them come after you. But I'm gonna give you guys the truth about everything, about me, about all my travels, the good and the bad. I'm gonna tell you which countries are the safest, which countries aren't the safest, which country has the best dates, which countries have the best women, which countries have the best food, and all the things that are true. I'm going to tell you the bad dates I've had, the good dates I've had. I'm going to tell you all the funny jokes I make about how immature, which girls are the most immature, which girls are the most loyal or seem the most loyal, and which girls are the ones who have have the biggest agenda, right? They have an agenda. Which countries are the most racist, I felt like? Which countries I didn't really experience it? Well, not racism, I mean prejudice. Which countries you would perceive to be the most prejudiced? Which countries I felt too fat for? I should do that video next, by the way. Am I too fat for Colombia? Am I too fat for this? Am I too fat for I can share with you a whole bunch of experiences just off of that. Why am I in the gym working on myself? So many things to talk about, So many things to talk about. Why do people have a problem with me as a fat man? So many things to talk about. So be prepared. We're going to roll out a lot. If you made it this far, you got some real treats to look forward to. So, and I got a bunch of videos, like I said. So I just want to do this just to nudge people a little bit. But just know that I know. And I know. And now you know I know. You just not that ninja you claim to be, And I'm tired of it. I'm just so exhausted. It gets boring. It gets old. It's like I said something to this YouTuber real quick. I'll say this real quick. Like I just told the YouTuber dude, stop lying. You're not going to Africa. And they came at me posturing and chest poked out and all that. And I'm like, it's getting old. This is getting old. Just stop. It's YouTube. You don't really even care about the opinions of the subscribers who support your fucking channel. You don't even care about anything.